Suit up, strap in, warm the tires, and leave on yellow. Time for the MitsuTimes podcast, presented by MitsuTimes.org, the home of the fastest Mitsubishi cars. With your host, Josh.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the MitsuTimes podcast. My guest today, Mr. Michael Sherwell. He is the driver of a very cool Triton in the Tire Power SuperUte V8 series. How are you today, sir?
I'm living the dream, mate. I'm actually feeling a little bit secondhand because I spent the day at the go-kart track, and those things are way more demanding than driving the V8 SuperUte.
Makes the Triton feel like a day going to get groceries, huh?
Yeah, there's power steering. It's awesome. But yeah, it's great to get out there. I went out there with my mechanic, and we call him the Wizard, and his son Bodie. They've got a new go-kart, so that's had a great day on. And today was our public holiday for the Anzacs. So what better day to commemorate the Anzacs and go and spin laps at the track?
Absolutely. And it's nice to stay fresh out there and make sure you're hitting all the apexes and all that stuff.
What apexes? No. I saw some of them, then flew past them, and then by the end of the day, I got my shit together. But it's all about having a bit of fun and staying sharp. So yeah.
Well, Michael, for those that aren't familiar with you, can you introduce yourself and talk about your motorsports background a little bit?
Bit of a unique story. If it wasn't for the supercars visiting Newcastle, so the Newcastle 500, I wouldn't be a race car driver today. I sponsored a Toyota 86 from a friend of mine, Gavin Reynolds, and I also, through my business, Nova Air and Electrical, was a VIP with Actron Air, because Actron Air sponsored Frosty, Australian supercar driver, Mark Winterbottom, and it just hooked me, mate. Like the excitement, the circus type theatre of it all. I watched the Aussie cars go around. I'm like, I could do that. I wouldn't mind doing that, thinking that they would be easy, right? Because they're little and, and they got a motorbike engine and I've got a motorbike background. And anyway, a couple of confidence drinks later, I was like, yeah, I can do this. And then they came around a couple of years later and then the story picked up again. Long story short, a month after the event, I actually bought that Toyota 86 and started my journey on learning how to be a race car driver with no background in motorsport whatsoever. So that was 40 years old when I did that. So, yeah.
It is very unique. It feels like nowadays every modern race car driver kind of started when they were a little boy.
Well, I was riding motorbikes in the bush with my dad. Just bush bashing, as you say. So I got a mechanical background in my dad telling me you've got to fix it before you can ride it. So, but yeah, as far as karts or race cars go, nope, nothing till I was over 40.
So the Aussie cars really sparked your interest in motorsports overall.
Yeah, and it became full circle in 2023 because the supercars finally came back to Newcastle after COVID and the supercars and the Newcastle Council just kind of putting things off. And I looked at the support categories that were on offer, and the 86s weren't racing that round. And I was like, I've got to get on the grid. I've got to race my hometown. This is my last chance. I knew that they weren't going to be coming back. Like, with all the dramas with the East End and the way that the event was ran, I was like, I just feel that this is my last opportunity. So I hunted down for an Aussie car, found one, bought it, put a buyer's group together with my sponsors, and basically my mechanic, Loz, the Wizard, rebuilt the thing. We had 1.5 test days, 3 engine changes, and then went racing in my hometown. So, and it was the best experience until I wrote the car off on the Sunday.
Wow.
Wasn't my fault. There was just a blind corner. Someone went in the wall, and I arrived. And then so did like 7 other cars behind me. So yeah.
Well, there was no shortage of hurdles in your introduction to motorsports.
No, life goes that way, doesn't it? So I don't hear the answer no, and I don't see hurdles. I just see my goal, and I just one step at a time aim for it.
I love that. Well, Michael, what specifically pulled you towards the Tire Power V8 SuperUte series?
Well, the Toyota 86s was a great stepping stone. I mean, one make category, underpowered race car. It's all on driver, not on who has a bigger budget or anything like that. So for me to get the fundamentals of how to drive a race car was perfect. But the category that I was running in, or the group of people I was racing with, is such a high caliber. You look now, and there's multiple people that I raced with only a couple of years ago that are now in the main game in supercars. And whilst I was getting better and better, I wasn't getting the good feels because they were just getting better and better as well. So it became, and the whole category is a stepping stone to supercars. So the paddock folklore, the back end of the whole series, whilst it's really well supported and Toyota do a really, really amazing job, it didn't feel fun anymore. It felt like a job. So I was looking for something that was a little bit more fun because, I'm not going to the supercars. I'm the old guy that's just having a steer, trying to find out how good I can get. And the V8 SuperUtes were on test days, blowing flames, sounding amazing, and going quicker than the 86s. Like, these things are off the chain. I want to have a drive. So I mentioned it to Luke Cedars from the Cedars Racing Team. And then the opportunity came up at the end of 23, the last event, to jump in one and have a steer at Adelaide. And the rest is history. I ended up buying that car, and I'm now entering into my 3rd year of them.
So when you were driving for Mr. Cedars, was it behind the wheel of a Triton, or was it a different Ute?
No, it was the car that I ended up purchasing. Yes, so
okay.
It was one of their arrive and drive cars that they had, and they'd built some other cars, and the opportunity that they were looking to sell it because they built some other cars, and I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to take it on. So my mechanic, Laurie, who, like I said, I call the wizard because he can do anything. He's magic. Kind of co-ran the car with them. So it was a really good starting ground to enter the category, but having the support from Cedars Racing Team, but kind of learning from your own mistakes, if you know what I mean, like having to do it on your own, but having the support from them. So really thankful for those guys for giving me that opportunity.
It certainly helps that your mechanic was already familiar with the car too.
Exactly. I mean, there's nothing like getting chucked in the deep end. That's how I do everything. So unfortunately, Laurie had to learn the hard way as well.
Well, Michael, your Triton isn't the typical circuit racing platform. What's this driving experience like on pavement? Because we're used to seeing a Triton off-road, like you said before, kind of out in the bush and doing the rally circuit.
I've never driven one off the road, mate.
Wow.
So I don't know. My experience is I've only driven a Triton on a circuit, but I get where you're coming from. The V8 SuperUte series and Luke Cedars and the Cedars Racing Team re-engineered these things so that they are a purebred race car. They don't handle like a Triton. It's a Triton body, but look at the stance of it. It's way lower. The whole diff cradle's been re-engineered. The thing is a purebred race car. So how do I handle it on a circuit? Well, it's designed for it. And then we just tune it up to suit the track conditions.
Understood. Okay.
It's not designed to drive around the dirt. It's only like 120 mil to the bottom of the diff cradle. So you go over a little bit of, camber on the road, and you're going to scrub it out. You're going to rip the diff out of it.
It's much different than the one in the showroom at the dealer.
100%. Yeah. These this version of the V8 SuperUtes are actually faster than the old. I don't know if you're familiar with the Brute Ute series that the Australians had. So the Commodore and Ford Brute
Yes.
Utes.
Yes.
What we run now are quicker than those. Yes, we're in a dual cab Ute and they're heavier, but they're quicker cars these days. Like we do 255 down Conrod at Bathurst, and our lap times everywhere we go are quicker.
That's just crazy. 255 in a dual cab Ute. Wow.
Yeah, good fun.
Well, Michael, what are some of the challenges when it comes to tuning in this Triton for road course performance? I mean, like you said, the cradle has to be re-engineered. What else goes into making this Triton ready for the road circuit?
Well, as long as no scrutineers are listening, I put bags of concrete in the back just to put extra weight and grip. Believe it or not, I use that line on fans that come up in the pits. But like any high-powered race car, the tire grip is optimal. Like that's what you need to focus on, tire grip. So they high-powered 1.8 ton. I think mine's 1,860 kilograms. So it's all about your driver input, not shocking the tire, loading it gently, and getting the best out of it. So you do have to pay particular attention to the setup, but also your driving style has to be so unique for these cars, and also it takes a little bit of time to get your head around it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, but it's funny that you say that, Michael, because in my mind, I'm thinking, well, that's kind of what the Triton was born for, right? Hauling concrete and rocks and stuff.
Yeah, I don't have bags of concrete in the back, but we have balance of performance, so that there is a weight tray in the back of the tray. So depending on the type of ute you're running and the balance of performance, you may or may not have to add some weight in there. So we also have throttle mapping changes depending on your speed. The throttle map changes because that's got to do with the aero of the car. So how slippery it is through the air, and also ride heights. So your rear ride height on a ute, quite important. So there's changes on different manufacturers' ride heights depending on the make and model to try and make them all even. Just similar to the GT categories, the TCR categories, supercars. So we run the same kind of balanced performance style as the top tier category, so that we're all even.
I didn't know that. Well, Michael, we see the Rangers and the D-Maxes out there in the field. How does the Triton compare to those? I mean, like you said, some are more aerodynamic than the others, but they balance it out. So does the Triton perform well across the other vehicles in the field?
Yeah, I feel like the Ranger is probably, because it's longer wheelbase, more suited to long sweeping corners. The D-Max is an all-round winner. It's kind of ticking the boxes everywhere. But the Triton's shorter wheelbase, and it's got an advantage under braking, and it's got an advantage under rotation. So short, tight, windy, like street circuits, we've got a bit of an advantage. But it also has a bit of oversteer on exit. So you've got to wait a little bit longer to get to that full throttle because of that shorter wheelbase. It wants to rotate. And we're still carrying the same weight as the other cars. So there's a bit of finesse there on the throttle and the steering angle. But again, with the balance of performance, it's kind of apples and pears. What you gain, you'll lose over here, because as a category, they've done really well to make it close racing for us all.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up street circuits, because when I watch the SuperUte series, my favorite one to see the Tritons at is Surfers Paradise Gold Coast, because it just feels like the Triton just does so well there.
That circuit is mega. I mean, first time I've ever been to that circuit was in the Ute, and the commitment you've got to have when hitting the chicane, the beach chicane, it's insane. So the faster you hit it, actually, the more settled it is. So you would think, yeah, cruise through there, but it unsettles it, and instead of just bouncing left and right, it rotates. So you just smash it straight, and the thing rides the curbs way nicer. So yeah, I had a good event. I think I started qualied 20th because I hit the wall in quali, and ended up getting my first top 10 finish at that event. So I remember that event. It was good memories.
Well, Michael, what's something unique about Ute racing that fans might not notice if we watch it on TV or go see it in person?
Um, so we only do one practice, and then we're straight into quali. So a lot of categories, they'll do 1, 2, 3 practices, but we'd prefer to bang doors and go racing. Race 1 is off quali. Race 2 is a reverse grid, and that reverse grid is picked out of a hat. Balls could be from 6th up to 12th position. Don't quote me on that. I think it's something like that. And then race 3 is on points from race 1 and 2. So from a spectator point of view, it's not just the guys are at the front. They're always at the front, and it's kind of boring. Our category is designed to create action, to create passing, and to get engagement from the fans. And it's definitely working, because I have so many people come up to the pits wanting autographs and wanting to know what we're doing, and they're really loving the category as a whole.
Good. I mean, it definitely always seems like the fans in the crowd are always having a good time seeing the Utes bang doors and go at it.
Well, it is still a production car body, so you can get doors and bodies and tailgates from the wreckers and stuff. So I think you're going to see a little bit more door-to-door action, a little bit more leaning on each other, and than you would in the Porsches or the GTs. So yeah, definitely get fan engagement that way, 100%.
Michael, when you're heading into a race weekend, what is your mindset? How do you get prepared for, like you said, there's practice qualifying and then multiple races. So how do you get prepared for that mentally?
Well, it's kind of Jekyll and Hyde for me, because I'm a single dad with 4 daughters. I have a business, and the moment I kind of park all that and head to an event, it's like I put the mask on. I change identities into the hooligan. And it's all about appreciation. Expect nothing, appreciate everything, because the position I'm in, millions of people would love to be doing what I'm doing. So that doesn't get lost on me. And I'm so thankful for the opportunity and the people that, sponsor me, partner with me, for my team, Loz, Toby, his wife, these 2 boys, the crew. Like, I literally have my mate, his wife, and his teenage sons help me. That is our team. So I go there knowing full well that every race event for me is unique, because we're like the epitome of privateers. And to be battling in the top 10 and getting results like that, it's all about appreciation. But I'm very competitive, and I want more. Every time I go there, I want more. And every race meet, I get quicker, and I haven't hit my plateau yet. I keep improving. So I don't know where it's going to be, but this year, podium's on the cards. I'm not going to say I'm going to get a podium, but I guess that's what I want to get. But the mindset is more about just appreciating it, because we only have one life, right? And being able to do this, the coolness factor. My daughters get to see me on TV. I take the 2 old ones away with me, and they get to see Dad be a rock star. It's pretty bloody cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Michael, compared to the 86, the Aussie car, and even, like you said, you were doing some go-karts, just for fun. Do you have to change your driving style when you get behind the wheel of the Triton, or is it just you use your driving style?
Well, yeah, my driving style was an 86, because that's what I started in.
Mm-hmm.
My driver coach was Tim Brook. He was a champion of the 86s. Become a good mate. I sponsored him in his Trans Am journey as well. And that is all I knew, right? The Toyota 86 for 3 years. That's just because that's the way I learned to drive a race car. Then when I got in the Utes, it required a totally different driving style. You can't trail brake the same. You can't pick the throttle up the same. Otherwise, you'll end up being a spinning top. So yeah, it uses a lot of mental capacity to. So I guess I have to work a lot harder because I don't have that natural ability as a race car driver. I have to work harder at it than everyone else because it doesn't come natural for me. So yes, massive difference. I really enjoyed the Aussie cars because you can just wrestle those things. It's like wrestling a gorilla, and that suits my driving style. My driving style is aggressive from a freestyle motocross and motorbike background. The more effort you put in, the more you get out. But in an 86 and the Utes, it's nothing like that. You've got to be aggressive, but you've got to be somewhat finesse and perfect on the way you ramp the throttle up, the way you blip, the way you shock the, lean on the tire, because 1.8 tons moving at 200 plus k's an hour, it ain't going to give you much give.
No, not at all. And that's what I think draws a lot of people to the V8 SuperUte series. Is it's very unforgiving. It's beating and banging, and like you said, you see a lot of spins, and um, the races are short. So
Yeah, it
it's a lot
can. Something that, from my personal opinion and view, when someone watches that and you see a lot of spins and you see a lot of, say, mistakes, right? The general public don't understand what it takes to wrestle these beasts around a track. You can get seasoned professionals in these cars, and they are not going to get to the front of the pack in their first race. We saw that with Paul Morris. He was back battling with me. He eventually got a bit quicker, but it's not something you just get in this car and it just clicks. You've got to work at it because they are unique.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to describe this series. Unique.
Yeah, it is fun too.
Yeah, certainly fun to watch. I can't imagine how fun it is out there on the circuit.
I just wish our races were a little bit longer than 20 minutes because as an old guy, I get quicker with more laps. Like I get tuned up the more laps I do. Come 16, 17 minutes into it, I'm firing on all cylinders and we're nearly finished. So I race better than I quali. I always seem to move forward racing. So,
Michael, for me, I wish the races were longer, but I also wish that there were more of them. It feels like there's always, 2 months in between each race, and I just wish there was more. I need more.
Well, there's a lot of support categories in Australia, and we are blessed to be bookended on the supercar series. Like we're at the first round, we're at the last round, and there's a reason we are at the first and the last round, and that's because supercars want us to be, because our traction with the fans is picked up so massively that they've contracted us to be there because they know we bring numbers. But yeah, 6 rounds a year for us semi-professionals, it's enough, I feel. It's hard getting budget, Josh. I mean, to run it for 6 rounds over the year with the current economic kind of climate, it's a struggle. I know I'm finding it really, really hard. I've seen a lot of people fall off the bandwagon because of budget. So, I mean, we still race 4 times every race, so that's 6 times 4. That's still a lot of races. But yeah, maybe if the supercars could make it a little bit cheaper for us, then we could race more often.
Yeah, I guess that's one thing that the average person doesn't think about is the budget and funding to be able to drive all the way across the country to go to some of these races.
Oh man, we go to Tasmania in 3 weeks, and then to Perth. So we go from the most southern point of Australia to the most western point of Australia, and then we're in the Gold Coast, Queensland, and then Bathurst, and then Adelaide. So yeah, we're all over the country.
Oh yeah, every corner.
Yeah, and that's great for our fans because we're visiting all the states. We're traveling everywhere, so they want to see us. So we'll go to them.
Well, Michael, obviously on these weekends that there are races, you get to see the GT supercars up close. How does the SuperUte series compare to that series? Like, for those that aren't familiar, that maybe don't get to watch the SuperUte series on telly, how is it different?
Well, I've been told that, or we don't run endurance racing, so the supercars run much longer races and laps, so that they'll have pit stops. We don't have pit stops, and whilst our driving style is all about time management as well, because we're undertired and over horsepowered, and that's by design to create good racing, which is very similar to the supercars. It's basically, we're action packed in 20 minutes. So if you watch the Australian GP and watch the supercars there, where they had sprint race after sprint race after sprint race, and how action packed that was, that's exactly like us, because there's no time for strategy. There is no, let's make a gain, let's time manage, let's do this. They just door banging, going for hell. So it's very similar to the supercars. It's just we don't race as long. And when it comes to the driving style, they took all the aero packages off the supercars for the Gen 3 era, because it was all about time management and there wasn't much passing and it was getting a bit boring, right? So that's similar to our utes. We don't have aero. We're over horsepowered, under tired. And we've got some guys like Cam Crick in our series. Some other guys have driven the current supercars, have jumped in and say they're very similar to drive. Your driving style has to be the same throttle application, the way you load the car up, the fact that there's less or limited no aero in our cars. So we don't go as fast as them, but it equates to the same output. So very similar to the top level supercars, but yeah, just in a dual cab ute that you can go buy at your dealer.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's what makes it so appealing to a lot of people.
Yeah, there's not many. The Toyota 86 series is a series in Australia that you can go buy that car. Then you've got GTs, Porsches that are not your general public's kind of car you would go to the dealer and buy, right? So our cars probably as a category is the most entertaining, that draws in the general public, because you've got someone that owns a BT, then someone that owns a Triton, and someone that owns a Ranger. Yeah, our cars are re-engineered to be race cars, but there's not another category that's got that right now.
It seems like watching, the support categories on the weekend, the SuperUte series always seems to be the favorite.
Well, I'd like to think that, Josh. You notice it on the outlap. So when we come out of the dummy grid and we're doing our tyre prep coming up to the grid, you can see the crowds moving to the fences.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You can't denote that. And at Bathurst last year, I was the second car on track on the Thursday. So basically, first car's on track for the whole weekend, and I was the second car because just the way the pit bays were laid out. That was amazing to see, the amount of people just run up to the fences and we waving at us. And yeah, it was very cool to see that they see this category as the shining light, for Australian in Australian motorsport, and it's pretty exciting to be a part of.
Well, Michael, one of my favorite things, now that we're kind of on the subject, I want to talk about how the racing is compared to those series, because in this SuperUte series, there's close racing, there's drafting, like you said, there's fast and flowing tracks, and there's also tight and technical tracks. So how do you think that the racing itself compares to those other categories, now that you've kind of told us that the cars are very similar?
We can bang wheels, bang guards, and keep racing. So they're built tough. So they've kept their kind of 4x4 genes, just been lowered and given more horsepower. So it does give us an opportunity to lean on each other a little bit harder. I would say that everyone in the category races pretty fair, pretty clean. but it does give you an opportunity. If there's an option there to just be like, yeah, I know I'm going to make contact here, but I don't care because it's on. And we do. And I think that's why people love it. The drafting is something like I mentioned about Conrod. I had a two-car tow down Conrod, and by the time I pulled out, I drove past them like they were standing still. And I had someone behind me, Craig Woods, so he had a three-car tow. So he come up onto my bumper and bump draft me, and I went from 230 to 256 in a split second. And all of a sudden, I'm at the chase, having to turn right, and he's a really experienced and great driver. So he got off the bumper and allowed me to not be pushed through there. But like that just made my eyes open to the fact that these things, yeah, they cut a big air wake. So drafting is amazing if you can get a toe on them. But I've also seen Aussie cars and Formula Vs, especially the legend cars, massive in the toe. And I kind of feel like it doesn't bring true racing, because if you're third and you're on the last lap, you've got every opportunity to win, not because you're fastest, because you've got a toe. But with our cars, the toe on a long, long straight is great, but it doesn't give you ultimate advantage of winning the race if you're second on the last lap, if you know what I mean.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, Michael, looking back so far, what moment stands out to you as the most the highlight of your SuperUte career?
I did chat with Megan Coleman, my PR manager, before we jumped on board about this, and when I told her, she goes, "Oh, I would have thought there was a time you were in the top 5 at the last round at Sydney," and I'm like, "No, not really, because I dropped from 5th to like out of the top 10." But I learned from it. I learned how I overused my tyres, and I come back stronger. But I guess my driver coach who won the series last year, David Cedars, similar age to me, champion of a bloke. At Sandown last year, our last event, he looked at my footage and he's like getting blood out of a stone. He doesn't give you a lot. So if he gives you a compliment, it means a lot. And he basically said, "Mate, you did everything you need to do, just fix your engine." Because I had some horsepower issues. And he goes, "You did everything. You would have been up there in 4th or 5th if you didn't have the engine issues." So I had goosebumps. I was like, that for me, that was like I've made it. So it wasn't like I got a podium, or it wasn't like a massive. It was more I got appreciation from my peer who I respect so highly. And for me, starting my journey out as a 40-year-old to now 45 is like, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to be where I need to be. I did get a 7th in points at Tasmania last year, so that's probably my best national ranking. And we go back there in a couple of weeks, so looking to go better than that. But yeah, I think it's more about just getting the appreciation from Dave and my peers that I'm doing well and I keep improving. So
yeah, sometimes it doesn't get much better than that.
Because if he thinks I'm doing it right, then I must be.
Absolutely. He's certainly been in it long enough to be the judge if you're doing it right or not.
100%. And I mean, I think, and at Tasmania last year, the last race, I started 7th and he was 5th. So I'm revving the tits out of the car going, "Hey, Dave," waving at him. He started right in front of me. So, yeah, I'm getting closer to where I need to be. So, yeah, it's good fun. Good fun.
Well, Michael, this good fun, do you see yourself staying in the series long term, or do you eventually want to move up to, like Super 2, Super 3, or another support series?
So in 2025, whoever owned a car basically had an option to buy in and be a shareholder of the Tyre Power V8 SuperUte series.
Wow.
So we're a shareholder group, and I own a car, so I am a shareholder of the category. So to be so engaged on that platform, I don't feel like I want to go anywhere. Any other category, you're at the mercy of the owners of that category, right? And your asset and your money and everything is kind of dumped into their control. So it does feel somewhat comfortable. And for bang for buck, I don't see another category that can give me the same fun factor, racing on the supercars calendar, the footage and coverage we get, and I'm a shareholder. So my goal is to keep pumping with that and keep building this category up, as we all are. All our shareholders all have AGM meetings, and we all have input into how to grow the category and to make it stronger and more profitable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And Michael, as a business owner, I'm sure you can appreciate that. It seems like the SuperUte series has the biggest kind of marketing pull when it comes to these other support series.
I don't understand why the other categories aren't doing it. And then I remember we've got Philippa Guana. So Philippa is our category manager. She's got decades of experience in motorsport, and she is an absolute genius in media, marketing, and now she's the manager of our category. So we hit the jackpot with getting Philippa on board, and I think that's got a lot to do with the growth of the category. She really believes in it, and she's invested so much of her effort and time to see where it can go. And whilst she's steering the boat, I want to be a part of it.
That's definitely understandable.
You just have to look at her CV and what she's done and go, yeah, that, like, as an investor, like a businessman, you would invest in something that's tried and tested and has experience, right? Well, she ticks all those boxes. And for her to be engaged so heavily in our category, then if you're an investor, you should get on board.
Yes, indeed. This is where the smart money is now. It's like investing in stocks.
Exactly. And I think our stocks are going up. And I know, because we have meetings, so we know their stocks are going up.
Yes, it certainly seems that way from an outsider's view. So it's good to hear that it's the same on the inside.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of perception of still being, the dual cab, not a serious race car. And I just implore people to just do a bit of research. If you think that they're not a purebred race car, have a look at the speeds we do. Have a look at the lap times and have a look at who's driving our cars. Like, these are not, the drivers in our series are serious peddlers. We've got multiple people who have driven supercars racing our cars because they know how fun they are, but they also know it's a challenge. And if you can be quick in these cars, you can be quick in anything.
It certainly seems that this is like the SuperUte series is a great kind of getting your racing foundation series, because like you said, that you can bump and bang, but the SuperUtes also are fast and handle tight corners and go to some of the best tracks on the supercar series.
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, the 86s is like the stepping stone to Super 2s, right?
Mm-hmm.
But people need to start looking at the SuperUtes as a stepping stone category as well. And I think also the major supercar teams need to have a look at our category as a stepping stone, because for everything that we've talked about tonight, like the proof is in the pudding. And if you can drive a SuperUte fast, you could probably get in a Super 2 or we don't really have a Super 3s now. It's kind of fell off. There wasn't enough Super 3s to kind of build the category and have enough numbers. But, I mean, if budget was there, I'd love to have a steer in Super 2. Good mate of mine, Rossi Johnson. Congrats, Rossi. He's put some budget together, and he's recently announced he's stepping up into Super 2 for his home round at Darwin as well, in Adelaide. Pumped to see how he goes.
Absolutely, that's also an exciting series. But I just feel like the Super Utes are so special, and the Super 2s, obviously they're very fun to watch, but it kind of feels like I don't know. It's not boring to watch, but it's just not as exciting as the Super Ute.
No, I went to my daughter's gala soccer day the other day, right? And it's different to a week on, week off soccer game, right? So I would like to see the Super Utes be involved in some sort of like a gala day where it's a one-off Super Utes event. and it's not part of the supercars. And as much as we need the supercars, and as much as it's beneficial to be a part of their support category, be one of their support categories, I feel like we've got enough mounts now to maybe go and do our own one-off event to kind of epitomize what we can offer. And then we can maybe do some longer races instead of 20-minute races. Then we can do some strategy. We can bring in the pit stops and, really, really extend what we've already got as a baseline.
I mean, that would certainly be a dream come true. I think that that would definitely help the series out a lot. And, like you said, it would really highlight how cool and how special this series is when it's all, standalone all by itself.
Yeah, I think you could never be standalone by yourself, but I guess it gives us the opportunity to not be the minority, be the majority, so to speak. And you could still run an event with other support categories. And yeah, food for thought.
Absolutely. Well, Michael, when it comes time to, go all the way to Tasmania, when the ute is being unloaded off the lorry, how do you, what's your routine from unloading until lining up for practice?
As I mentioned, my mechanic Loz, his wife Toby, and his two boys Bodie and Coda, they're my crew. So they tow the car in my Ram, and I've got an enclosed trailer, and I usually fly to an event. I get there, I do some media commitments, I check in on them, see what they need, sort out the accommodation. Basically, I don't get to touch the car. I get told to piss off. And Loz goes, "No, you're a driver. Go be a driver. Go do you." And he goes, just go do you, mate. So he wants me to go get the vibe, you know what I mean? Like, become the hooligan, get into that situation where I'm going to be my best version of myself. So I'm really blessed to have those guys. Like, I love them to death. And that's probably why I keep going better, because they keep giving me that rope, that free rein. So, I mean, I get all the stress and the financial problems and all the other stuff that goes along with it. But once I get there, once those boxes have been ticked, yeah, I only get to touch the car if we have a major incident and the porta power has to come out. That's my job. I'm good on the porta power. And other than that, he tells me to piss off, go home.
You got to focus on.
I go and make dinner for the kids. So I take his boys home and cook, go shopping and go cook. So I'm the housewife.
It's an important role still.
You got to eat.
Yep. All right, Michael, for those of us that are watching these races on TV or maybe even there in person, as you said, there's a practice round of qualifying and then 4 rounds of racing. We don't really get to see what happens in the paddock behind the scenes. Why don't you fill us in a little bit about what's going on back there between the rounds?
Pretty intensive, man. Bleed clutch, bleed brakes, change tires. So we have 6 tires that we get allocated per event. So how you use that tire bank, depending on what race, what position you're in, what you want to gain per race. There's general checks that has to go over the car. Like Loz, I don't have DNFs because he goes over the car relentlessly. As a one-man mechanic, he's balls to the wall. He is flat out and non-stop. As far as turnaround for the car goes, sometimes we only have an hour and a half between races, and then you take out 20 minutes for being at the dummy grid or half an hour to be at the dummy grid. Now you've got an hour. Then when you come off track, we got Parc Fermé at Gold Coast the other year. Literally had 15 minutes. We barely had enough time to put fuel in the car, and I had a bent component that we had to change. So it's so tight. It's stressful sometimes, but you just got to fit into the calendar that supercars and that the support categories are all aligned with. So Yeah, sometimes it's tough. Sometimes you feel like you're getting the short end of the stick. But all in all, on the big picture, we're still lucky to be doing what we're doing. But it's definitely not easy, especially if you have a lot of damage and you've got to replace parts and panels. And so, yeah, it's all hands on deck when that happens, except for me. He tells me to go away.
It sounds like there's a lot of work that goes on between these rounds. I guess the more damage, the more work.
Yeah, I drive with a lot of mechanical sympathy and also mechanic sympathy. So I could probably be quicker and gain more positions if I had two things: more budget and more hands. But at the end of the day, it's working for me and my little team, and what we're doing is working. So I'm not going to go send it to make one position from, 8th to 7th and do major damage. And then we've only got an hour and a half or 2 hours between race events. And I've got one mechanic, his wife and his kids, to fix the car. So, as an older racer, I've got an older head. I don't make a lot of mistakes. I don't put it where it shouldn't be. My ambition doesn't outweigh my skill very often. It does sometimes, but not very often. So yeah, and if you're not fixing the car and spending money, then you're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
This episode of the MitsuTimes podcast is brought to you by H Tuning. They offer in-person and remote tuning services for all Mitsubishi models, from stock ECUs to standalone computers. With agents across Canada, Puerto Rico, and the U.S., there isn't a car they can't reach. You can find them on Facebook or Instagram at HTuning or on WhatsApp 787-969-0046.
Well, Michael, you said that the mechanic doesn't let you, man the spanners and do some of the work on the Ute, but how hands-on are you when it comes to the setting up and the tuning and getting the suspension just right based on how it felt the previous round?
Well, I do have a mechanical background. I've dual traded Leco, Frigi, some other so when it comes to the mechanical changes, I'm a little bit unique to other drivers where they just want what the car needs, right? So, but if you tell me what you're changing to the car and how it's going to handle, I can then extract what it's going to give me, because I don't have that natural feel and ability from being in a go-kart since I was like 7 or 8 years old. So I do get involved in the engineering and the mechanical side of things, whilst I don't spend the hours and nights that he does doing it. I'm highly involved in the engineering, and when I say highly, okay, I'll ramp that back a little bit. I am involved in the engineering and the setup side of it, because for me, that's my progression. That's where I'm learning. So it's not just about driving the car. It's more about the feel and how, if we change this will happen, and this is the outcome. So yeah, I actually enjoy that nearly as much as the driving, because it's all new to me. I like new challenges.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's no playbook on these V8 SuperUtes. And being a small privateer team, we're doing it on our own. So we don't have a big playbook of what to do. So a lot of the times we're doing things and we don't know what's going to happen. So
sometimes just trying new things is what puts you at the top of the field, experimenting and all that stuff.
100%. I've got big enough balls to just do a really crazy change, and I was like, all right, I'll hang on to it. I don't matter. Doesn't matter what it does. I'll be right. Like, we made a major change at Bathurst, and Loz was really worried that he was going to kill me. It's like, it doesn't make sense. We've done this, and it shouldn't work. I'm like, should be right. And yeah, I went like a second quicker in quali, so I was like, yeah, no, it was good. Let's do that. So I love the dynamic we have between each other. I trust him with my life, and he wholly and solely trusts me as well. When I say something, he believes it. So yeah, it's good.
So Michael, earlier we talked about seeing the fans come up to the fence once they see the Triton come out onto the circuit. What kind of feedback do you see do you get from fans when you're doing like the signing or whatever else? Are the fans really enjoying the current situation in the SuperUte series?
Josh, I've had people get engaged in front of my car. And that was at Bathurst a year or so ago. I've had a family come up in Sandown and bring this young fella up who has leukemia, and the fact that, and our car died, we had to push it from the bottom of the paddock all the way up because he was there. And they were just all in tears because they couldn't believe they got to meet the hooligan that not just made his day or his month or his year. Like they said, this is going to make his life. And put him in the car, let him start the car, rev the crap out of it. And that puts a smile on my face, man. Like, people take the time out of their day to come and meet me and see what we're doing. You can just see them open up. Like, they don't understand how much goes into what we do. And as far as when they get up and close with the utes and they see the size of the engine and they look inside it, and I mean, we have like a light box with push buttons. It's above your head. It looks like you're starting a fighter aircraft with your start buttons and your fans and everything. Like, it is legit cool.
It definitely seems that the fans that know about the SuperUte series, that they're all in. They love every moment of it.
And we're definitely turning a lot of people around too, because they come up and going, the amount of people have come up and gone, I didn't know these had V8s in them. And we're like, yeah, that got changed in 2021, mate. And they're like, these things are insane. So the sound of 24 V8 SuperUtes starting off the line is insane. Like, I think they sound better than the supercars. Just the throatiness, and we blow flames. And so, yeah, the fans are getting so much more engaged. I think because it's just different. It's just, you don't see dual cab utes doing what we're doing.
Nowhere in the world are dual cab utes racing like that.
No, I would not. I did some research myself, and no, I haven't seen any.
Well, while we're on the subject, Michael, do you feel like that the series is currently gaining momentum? And if so, what do you think, in your opinion, could push it further? I know you talked about the races being longer. What else would make the fans really happy to see?
It's a contentious subject, but some footage. Being able to share on-track footage. So Fox Media owns the coverage rights. So I don't want to say anything that's going to get me in trouble here, Josh. But, we're the entertainment. People are coming to see us as much as they are coming to see the supercars. And we know that because they tell us that. But we can't show any in-car footage. We can't show that to our potential sponsors and partners and give them a tool to get return on their investment by partnering with us. I really feel that if that was to change, people would see like the wheel work you got to do in a ute compared to a supercar. Supercars are driving Miss Daisy. You just see them just like steering, nice and cruising around. Mm-hmm. If I give you a couple of laps of in-car footage of me driving, you're going to be shocked. And that's not just me. That's everyone in our category. It's just what it takes. So you would get more respect, more engagement, and people would see how much involvement it is to drive these cars at this pace. So, yeah, if there was some way, and I know Philip is working on that, and she's doing a great job in trying to get an opportunity to get some footage released. We have to go back to Fox or the supercars and get approval and stuff like that. But we also, as a category, have talked about starting a YouTube series about our series and about our drivers, similar to a Formula One Drive to Survive. I think that would go really well because we're unique characters. We're not all your typical race car drivers. Like, there's all walks of life in our category, and I think that's what makes it more interesting because we have more character, more depth.
Absolutely. I agree. It's not in Formula One it kind of feels like when it's media day that they're almost like robots, but whenever You get to see the SuperUte drivers kind of, be in front of the camera. I mean, it just seems like everybody's having so much fun. Everybody is such a character. That's what makes the series so special.
I love the fact that some people aren't used to the media. You can see them like clam up, and
Absolutely.
it's like that's because they're real people. We're real dudes that sometimes put in a position that they're not comfortable with or used to, but that's engagement. That's what people want to see.
And you don't see maybe the fighting in the pits that you might see in other series. It feels like the SuperUte series is such a family, even though there's bumping and banging out there on the track.
Yeah, there's still some hard conversations that I had. Trust me.
Oh, I'm sure.
That yeah, I mean, we don't want to put it on social media and have it tarnish our kind of image, but we're serious about our racing and we give a crap. And someone does something you don't like, you're going to hear about it. But I think overall, we do a good job of not making it, not posting it to the world, right? But yeah, no, we're still serious about you don't like something. I've had plenty of very tough conversations with people and let them know where I stand.
That's good. I mean, like you said, you're an owner. You're invested in this series, so to have it beaten, banged up by someone who's just doesn't, like you said earlier, doesn't have any mechanical sympathy. That's going to make you have those tough conversations.
Oh, yeah, I had that conversation at the last round. Someone who's a bit younger than me and his ambition outweighed his skill, and it's like it cost me thousands of dollars, man. And yeah, you got a penalty. You know why? But if you do it again, you'll see what'll happen. Like, it's not a threat; it's a promise. And I think moving from the 86s to the Utes, that was like going from high school to university. Now, you're in America, is at college, so going to like it was like graduating. The people that are racing and the whole paddock kind of vibe is more grown up. We'll go and have a beer after the race. It's not like mum and dad are taking their teenagers home after the race. So we get up in each other's faces and we have serious conversations. And I really enjoyed that as well, rather than coming from the 86s where it was all too like drama.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense now that when you put it like that, you kind of see that the drivers of the SuperUte series are usually more mature, grown up, and have their wits about them.
I'm starting to see a trend where people are seeing it as a stepping stone category. So you still have the younger guys coming through, but yeah, that mentality of, well, now you're in the big boys league. It's not the 86s. It's not, the category where the XLs or anything where that shit you could get away with, because we'll call you up on it. Because, yeah, most of them, yes, are not going to put up with it. And I think that's a good stepping stone to your racing career, because at some stage you're going to get that. You're gonna have to come across that. So, yeah, I like the transparency, basically.
Michael, we've kind of touched on this subject already a little bit, but I want to talk about your favorite part of the SuperUte series as a driver.
Okay. I think just off the back of what we were talking about, I mean, my first race event, after practice, crashed the car, it's raining, and I went and I saw Craig Dontist, who is one of our category commentators, and I said, "What are you doing? Going to the pub?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Can I come with you?" And he goes, "Yeah." Like, I was like, I found my home. This is like so cool. It's like you can just evolve with these people and get along with them at the same level. And it just feels like I found a home of like-minded individuals that we all want to race hard, and we're all on the same page now that we're, the owners of the cars are shareholders. So we have a common journey as well. So it just feels like you're on the bus with everyone. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like you're just going there on a race weekend on your own to get results. You're part of something bigger.
Makes sense. And Michael, we talked earlier about how the Triton excels well at the road course, and the chassis itself is maybe more tuned to a certain type of track. What, in your experience, what has been the most enjoyable track for you to bring this Triton to?
Bathurst. I mean, it's not that it's suited to the Triton, but I really can't go past racing at Bathurst, because anytime you get the opportunity to race on the mountain, it's the holy grail. And to be pedaling a 1.8 ton V8 dual cab ute over the mountain, it's insane. Like, we're doing 185 coming into Skyline, and just the world drops away and you're just hanging on to this thing. And it's pretty bloody cool. I mean, Gold Coast is a close second because of the walls and the concrete and the curbs and everything. But yeah, I guess the festival like atmosphere of Gold Coast is pretty damn cool. So I'd have to have two winners there, Josh. I'd have to say Bathurst because it's Bathurst, and Gold Coast probably because of the whole kind of circus type atmosphere.
And like you said, it Bathurst is one of those ones. It doesn't really matter what country somebody's from. They recognize the name. So it's even more special that you get to race the SuperUtes at such a legendary track like that.
100%. We're blessed. We're blessed to have it in our home paddock.
Well, Michael, outside of the SuperUte, obviously, what is your dream car to race around any circuit?
From the age of 15, I bought my first Combi, and I've had Volkswagens my whole life. I've had Combis my whole life. Given the fact that a flat 4 Porsche motor is the same as a Combi, just doesn't have all the bibs and bobs and make it as fast, I would love to drive a Porsche, race a Porsche, drive a Porsche. So yeah, I mean, I'm not that familiar with all the brands. Like, literally at 40, bought a race car and become a race car guy. I'm not a car guy. Like, I literally am a surfer, did, motorbikes, wakeboarding, all the other things other than race cars till I was 40. So I'm not your go-to guy for your, I guess, motorsport or car kind of trivia. But As far as a Porsche goes, just that iconic look of a Porsche, the sleek design, and the fact that it's got some sort of recognition to the Volkswagen, that would tick the box for me.
Makes sense. Well, you talked about picking up racing at 40 and getting into motorsports, at that age. What if it wasn't for racing? Obviously you work as a business owner in the daytime. What would be like your dream job if it wasn't for racing?
Like business or life coach. I'm the type of guy that learns from his mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, but I learn from them. I take responsibility for them. I lean into them, and I do better. So I'd like to use my learnings to stop other people making the same mistakes. But yeah, sharing my knowledge basically. So I reckon if it's not that, I'd be a midwife, because I'm a baby creep and I love babies. I got the opportunity to birth all my 4 daughters. Like, personally, I was the first person that touched all my daughters. So yeah, there you go. So race car driver, life coach, or midwife.
A little bit of everything, really.
Yeah, that's me. That's me, mate. I do everything. I've even been a beekeeper. Like, I've had bees before. I've been a brewer. I've done, you name it, I've done it.
Very well experienced in life.
Yeah, I like to just know how to do stuff. And if I don't know, I'll work it out.
Right. Got to at least try it.
Yeah, I think that's what life's about, isn't it? It's just experiences. We're here to gain as much experience as we can. But yeah, being a dad, like I just said all those things, but most important job is dad. Like that. I was born to be a dad. I love that.
I relate to that a lot as dad myself.
It's the number one job.
Well, Michael, one thing that I think is even more special, about you and about this, what you're doing with this car is you're part of this foundation. I want to talk about this foundation, what it is, and your role as part of this ambassador. For getting the word out there and spreading what this foundation is and what it does.
Peter Sleep is an amazing dude. And he's a dude. Like, I say that because if you were to meet him, you wouldn't understand or know that he's created this foundation and he does so many amazing things. He was unfortunate. He got cancer himself, and friends rallied around him and helped him get through his tough time. And then he realized that I need to, do this for others, and started a foundation. And he recently won the Newcastle Citizens Award of the Year, which is a major thing. And the type of charity that it is, there's no middleman. So they have direct help to the people that need the help. So it's about cancer. It's about, they helped build a PICU, which was an outdoor intensive care ward for kids. So literally, kids are in intensive care. They can actually go outside, see some fresh air, some trees, and they help fund that. So yeah, he's a no bullshit foundation where you need something, he'll help you. And his wife is just as amazing as him. And as a team, they are doing amazing things. And I just looked like, if I've got any opportunity to use my, potential to create awareness, then I should. Why not? So, being an ambassador for them is great. I did the Hill to Harbour, which is a 12K run with only 1 week of training, and I'm not a runner. And it was the best experience. I met a lot of people, didn't raise as much funds as I wanted to, but when I was talking to Pete about it, he's like, mate, it's all about the awareness. He goes, look at how many people you're bringing it out there to. And he goes, that's what we want. We want you to, create awareness. It's not about how many dollars you can bring in, but it's more about just getting us out there. So, yeah, there's no middleman with helping people. So a lot of big charities, all of the funds go to the administration and the structure of it, where these guys are, I wish I could explain it better, but at the end of the day, I'm just stoked to be a part of what they do and helping people.
Absolutely. It's hard not to be when you put it like that. I mean, and I really think that Pete's right. Sometimes the awareness is even more valuable than money.
Well, yeah, if you got to get to the hospital and you don't have money for petrol, people ring them up and they just give them credit card details over the phone. There's no process of getting that sorted. They're aware of your situation and who you are, and they just help however they can. And I've never come across a charity that's that kind of transparent, that unique.
Absolutely.
It's like I want to be a part of that.
Well, I think you put it perfectly, Michael. I mean, it cuts all the bullshit out of the middle, right? I mean, you get straight what you need when you need it, and straight from the people who have it. So, the foundation is very special, and
they're a little bit like a pyramid scheme. So once people find out what they do and they help people, now they just want to share the information. They want to share the knowledge about them. So yeah, it's quite a great thing to be a part of.
Absolutely. And the link to this foundation will be put in the details of this podcast. I encourage you to go and check it out and donate to this foundation, because just like Michael said, what they're doing is incredibly special, and all the money is going to people in need.
Thank you, Josh. That's amazing. Thank you, mate.
Of course. Well, Michael, where can people find and follow you on social media so they can see some more of this Triton and keep up with the many rounds that we have left in 2026?
You can't frighten a Triton. No, just jokes. Michael Sherwell Racing on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
All right. And then at the end, Michael, I always give people a chance to give a thanks or a shout out to anybody who's helped get the Triton where it is, anybody who's helped get them where they are in life. Is there anybody that you would like to give a thanks or a shout out to?
Yeah, man. First and foremost, my mate Loz. Without him believing in me and giving up his countless hours and energy and effort, and then kind of engaging his family to jump on the bandwagon, who now are all part of it as well, I wouldn't be where I am. Like, there's no way that I could do what I am doing without his energy, effort, and skill. Also, Timmy Brook, who taught me how to drive a race car. My dad and mum for teaching me that no matter how crazy goal you think it is, you can do it. And everyone at my work and my family for letting me go be a rock star every now and then, and they look after everything while I'm gone. And Megan Coleman, my PR manager, because I'm hopeless without her. So Coleman and Co.
Perfect. Well, Michael, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here and share your story and share the story of your Triton. I wish you the best of luck in round 2 coming up here in a few weeks. And, I can't wait to see what else this SuperUte series has in store, not just for the fans, but also for the racers. And I think it's going to be a great season.
Well, this year's stacked, mate. We have an amazing calendar with, all key events. So, Josh, you need to send me some stickers so I can chuck them on my ute for you.
Absolutely. You got it.
Yeah. Happy days.
All right, Michael. Well, have a great night, and I'll definitely be in touch. Thank you, sir.
You. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you for listening to the MitsuTimes podcast. Check out our Instagram and Facebook for daily updates. Get added to our list by going to MitsuTimes.org and clicking Submit a Slip. Thank you to all of our sponsors.